All right. So what you guys don't know is that before the show, I have an hour break between a meeting and the show. And the other thing you guys probably don't know about me is that I have played in bands my whole life until really I started working here. Only because I didn't have time to play in bands anymore once I started working here. Well, I started playing in a band again. And so in that hour break, I practice. And so Jay gets to come in and basically every week hear the new tune I learned. But what you guys probably also don't know is that a lot of the new interstitial music you're hearing on the experience for like the last 6 months, but especially that one we just played, I wrote. So that's fun. I just thought about that because we played the wrong branding to open the show. So, might as well explain that one. But needless to say, this is Kyle and Jay's Q&A where Jay and I answer your Qs. Or, if you want to make us look like A's, I guess we can do that too. But we are here to answer your questions. And this week we have a question for you, or rather I do, that we are going to dive into, which is a kind of a spinoff of last week's question. A kind of another spinoff of something else I'm working on. So we're going to dive into that in just a second once I played the 22-second little thing that I made a while ago for the producer's live sale, but I refused to make anything else because I'm lazy. So let's do that, and we'll bring Jay on, and we'll get to it. Welcome in the internet. What's up? This is Kyle and Jay's Q&A. I'm Kyle. That is Jay. You are the Q's, and we have the A's. I think. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah, guys, Jay got to hear me sing Amy Winehouse before we went on the air. Because the band I'm in wants to play Amy Winehouse, I guess. It's not too bad. It's an easy song. It's just high in parts. What does that have to do with comics? Literally absolutely nothing.
But it's fun.
Just thought I'd finish the story of Jay having to hear me start learning Irish folk songs with weird country bluegrass covers of other stuff. There's totally a bluegrass cover of Taylor Swift's Anti-Hero that's going to be a thing. So, just as long as there's only one S after the letter A, Ed, we're good.
I don't know, sometimes.
But the topic of tonight's show is something that I have had mixed feelings about for a long time. And it's something that we kind of talked about on Hot Takes. It's something we kind of talked about on Devil's Advocates over the years. But it's one of these things that keeps coming up as we start talking about new content for the EXP. This is something that people think we should be making. And I contend that it's not, because y'all don't care. And so I would like to know from you, do you look at any lists of what books are coming out this week, what books are going to be hot this week, what books are popular this week? And if you do, which ones do you look at? Do you care or not? So that's kind of the question I would like to dive into. But also, if you guys have any questions, throw them over there in the chat. Jay will star them, and we will get back to them at some point during the show. Again, you can ask us any questions about pop culture or philosophy or existentialism or...
Yeah, I'm the best person to ask questions like that.
Why I'm drinking body armor instead of energy drink, because my brain is not with me tonight. That's why I said that stuff. No, but pop culture, comic books, any of that kind of stuff. Ask us any questions. Ask us questions about the EXP. All of those kind of things, and we're happy to answer them.
Yes.
So, Jay, we were talking about... You and I were having a conversation on another show, I believe, or maybe before or after a show. I don't remember exactly. We talk a lot.
Yeah.
Where we were talking about hot books and books that are, collectible and things like that. Where do you look at stuff like this? Do you look at hot book lists, or do you look at Bronze's top 5 not to buy or anything like that?
I will watch that to support Bronze,
Mhm.
but to be completely honest, that's just not stuff I watch. Um, I would rather now. Don't get me wrong. I watch reviews and things like that. There are definitely people that I listen to, but those hot 10 lists are kind of like sometimes it's one book I might be interested in. Like I am not a person that I had no interest in Ultimate Spider-Man, and I still kind of don't. My Ultimate Spider-Man is Miles Morales, and I have those
Mhm.
books. Um, I wouldn't buy it just because it was going to be, oh, this book's going to be crazy expensive. I don't buy my books that way. I buy books that, and I know Nope said he got the idea from AJ on Welcome to Wonderland, but Nope told me about a book, and I was like, cool, I'll check it out. And vice versa, you and I and Dan, when we were on in stores this week, there was a lot of books that we talked about that we were, excited about that got people to go and check them out. Like I watch stuff like that. I don't necessarily look for what people think are hot tens. I look for folks that, hey, this is my favorite book I picked up this week, or here's a couple of my favorite books I picked up this week. And if they seem interesting, then I'll go and check them out. But as far as lists and things like that go, I'm just not really into them. That's me personally though.
Okay. John Stout says, I agree. I don't care. I just get my pull. If my shop owner recommends something, I will try it. If there, what about other people? Do other people have a feeling about this? And like right now, I'm looking at one of the hot 10 lists that come out, top 10 lists. And one of the problems I have with this top 10 list every week is that there is money being spent to make this list. And what I mean by that is the people who are making this list have a vested interest in these books going hot, being hot, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you have a book that I can't sell for $5 on my live show on a hot 10 list where it's saying that the value right now is somewhere between 20 and $60. Right. First appearance of the White Rabbit is the example I'm using.
Mm.
Right. So top 10 lists are usually very slanted. Um, Nope says, I read through Previews World and League of Geeks. Otherwise, I watch Minute to Skim It. Then the best books are referrals from friends. Right. Ed says, yep, I may not have ever read Where Monsters Lie or Harrower had I not seen your show. A lot of them fly under my radar at times. Right. And that's kind of the point of those shows, right? But do you guys ever, and again, this is what I'm looking for in terms of answers, I guess, is do you go back and look? Or do you go anywhere else and look other than like the shows you're watching? To see again what books are going to be hot, what books are going to be popular, just if for no other reason, so you can make sure you order them through your LCS. Right? Like we do the FOC show.
Mm.
And on the FOC show, we try and talk about books that we think are going to be high orders or that you need to order ahead of time from your LCS. But we also try and talk about the covers that, hey, look, this cover we think is going to be hot. If you want this cover, you need to make sure you pre-order it. We're not talking about it in a speculator kind of way. We're talking about it in a way of, hey, if you're counting on your LCS to have this, don't unless you order it.
Yeah.
It's why we don't often do incentives on that show. So do you guys go look at any of the other websites other than League or any of the other shows or that kind of thing? And would you tune into a show on the EXP if we had a hot 10 show or a top 5 show or whatever? I don't care what books are hot and popular. I like looking ahead for books that excite me. Like you probably couldn't tell. Like you could probably tell I was excited about the Recca book yesterday. Yeah. Um. Right. Right. Nope watches FOC and then it sends him to Previews World.
Yeah.
I guess those were the questions I want to ask because so many people, again, are saying, well, you should make this kind of content. You should do this kind of thing. And I just don't believe that it's necessarily popular. And if people aren't putting stock in that, then why would we do it?
Okay, that's fair for me. What Nope's saying there.
Yeah. So Nope says I'd watch a top 10 show on here for sure. Trusted source. Okay, fair. Absolutely. It's one of those things is that has anyone here ever been influenced by a top 10 list? By a hot book list into buying something you wouldn't have bought before because it was on a list? Jay, have you?
Not well. I guess it's kind of the same thing, but there's YouTubers I watch, and it's not necessarily like a top 10 list. It's books that they picked up that they reviewed, and there's a lot of times I've seen people that I trust on YouTube talking about, let's say, Resurrection Man from Rom V.
Mhm.
Now, I know I'm a Rom V fan. Okay, I love his work. But when I have people that I trust saying, "Hey, this book is really good," that convinces me I'm going to go out and buy it. Because I know I'm probably going to like it just because I'm a fan of Rom V's writing style, but also I trust this person. Now, again, I'm not a list watcher, so I wouldn't be able to tell you if I could look at a list and be like, feel the same way, because most of the time when people are doing a top 10 or a hot list, it's speculation. It's usually all speculation. They're right some of the time. But again, I'm not going to buy a book just because somebody says this book is going to be popular. Because there's a lot of popular books that I'm not personally a fan of. And there's a lot of books that, like Ed said earlier, that fly under the radar that I end up really enjoying. And I usually get those from the YouTubers I watch or our friends in the chat. So again, it's I've been influenced by people that I trust is basically what I'm trying to say.
John Stott, I bought Mark Spears Monsters on Batman Day last year because I liked the covers. Had no idea it was blow up, and no, I didn't sell any. That's cool. And that's right. There's always that you go into a store and get influenced thing, right?
Yeah.
You see a cover you like, you get recommended something by somebody, you whatever. That's always a thing, and it's always going to be. But what I'm finding interesting is the number of lists I'm finding on the internet every week of, I go over to Comics Beat to look for topics for this show. And the Beat every week does their roundup, their new books from this week, right? Their Wednesday comic reviews. The top comics to buy for April 23rd. That kind of stuff. And some of this is actual journalism and some of it's not. And some of it's again, it's interesting, but maybe not. And so I want to know how many people are influenced. Like I'm looking at the list this week. The top comics: Absolute Martian Manhunter 2, Assorted Crisis Events 2, Moonshine Bigfoot #1, Out of Alcatraz 2, Welcome to Twilight City 2. Right, and then others receiving votes: Amazing Spider-Man 2, G.I. Joe 6, Green Lantern 22, Into the Unbeing Part 2 #3, Justice League Unlimited 6, Lilith 3, Minor Arcana 6, Spectrum 5, Spider-Man 25, Those Not Afraid 4, and Ultimate Black Panther 15.
Yep. And out of that whole list, there's 4 I'm interested in.
Yeah. Oh, there's a bunch that I've got actually. So for me, but it's all stuff that I ordered at FOC, which is an interesting thing. Ed says most of the books I like don't make the top 10. Once in a while, I hit a hot one, like when I found Mark Spears Monsters and Order the Bride cover. I didn't know it would be hot. I loved it. Ed kissing our butts, which is fine. But so this is the other thing. This is the next topic I want to get to here in a minute, Ed. Spider-Man versus Predator was not on there, unless it's actually listed in another part of the list, Ed, which is the new number ones and one shots. Like it's a separate list because it's a new number one. It's not on the list. So it's just an interesting thing. Do you guys, and again, it might be us, and I'm not doing this to blow smoke up our own butts. Do you guys have someone who is regularly saying to you, hey man, this is a you book, or I was reading this book and I thought of you, or hey, this is something I think you'll like? Do you have that person? Does that person work at your comic shop? Is that person an internet personality? Is that person like your buddy from down the street? Like my buddy from down the street who put me on to like some books that I loved as a kid. The reason I read Batman is because my buddy down the street gave me his Batmans. Oh my God. Jay, I'm going to bring something up to you in a second.
Okay.
But do you have somebody like that isn't me?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Sean sometimes. Sean shows me some good stuff sometimes, but Sean's so busy most of the time he doesn't know what's coming out.
Right.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Nope has turned me on to a couple of books. Ed has as well. And then not that I know these guys, but I talk to them online, but like people like 9 Panel Grid or Stu from Dr. Doom's fan club, when they talk about books, I trust usually what they say. And like there's random scattered people throughout the experience. And it's not a book, but TJ talked to me about Ruby Spears Superman, and I just got watching that the other day, and I really enjoy that so far. So, yes, Castle, you were coming next, man. Good to see you. Castle gets me hyped on books. The thing about Castle, I'm gonna gloat on you for a little bit here, boss. It's your excitement about things that gets me excited, that makes me want to check things out. That's a big plus for me. If somebody's reviewing a book and they're kind of ho-hum about it, it doesn't really give me a feeling of urgency. But when you have someone like Castle yelling in your face and throwing books and all kinds of crazy stuff, it does get me a little hyped to check a book out. I'm not going to lie. So,
do you remember the band Broken Social Scene?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. There's a graphic novel out, Broken Social Scene Presents You Forgot It in People, which I'm very excited about, that I didn't order and I need to order. Anyhow. Jay and Eddie mostly is nope. So John Stout says my shop owner and my comic friends. Okay. TJ says I used to be that guy at the shop when I worked it. Nope says Jay and Eddie mostly, but otherwise there's a younger guy at my LCS that has referred a lot of books to me. I'll be sad when he leaves for paramedic school. Yeah, he's got to go make an actual living. Very cool. So the last thing I want to kind of ask is, when someone gives you a recommendation, how often can they be wrong before you stop listening to them? Like, just thinking about it, like if and I'll give you an example of a book I gave to a guy one time. He was a big Walking Dead collector, and I put him onto Pestilence, and he really liked Pestilence. Then another book came out called Planet Z, and I put him onto that one, and he didn't like it, and he wouldn't take my recommendations anymore.
Oh man,
right? How wrong can somebody be? How often can somebody be wrong about a book that they think you'll like before you stop listening to them?
I don't know, man. I'm a very forgiving person when it comes to that. There's times people are hit or miss. Like, I haven't yet had a person that was more miss than hit. So how about y'all in the chat? Y'all got to have a better answer than me.
Yeah, like I said, I want to know how often could somebody be wrong about recommending a book to you before you'll be like, you know what? I don't trust that guy anymore.
Hey, Lorena.
You find someone who is close to your tastes and you follow them. I don't usually listen to what other people come to say when it comes to comics because I'm pretty much all horror and indie. The only ones I really listen to when it comes to ed books are you guys and Nope. Thank you, Nick. Hit the thumbs up.
Yes.
Everybody hit the thumbs up. And we're going to talk about that here in a minute, Nikki.
Yeah.
There's big news for Nick's show on Friday.
Exciting.
If you didn't see it, a mailer will be going out in the morning talking about it, spreading the word a little more, but we're going to talk about it here in a minute.
Yeah, so I was telling, I don't think Nick saw it, but if you see Bay Jerns in the chat, Nick, don't worry about
it. Right. If you see Hydrosylum in the chat, don't worry about it. Yeah. It's true. Ed says, I've only had it happen to me when I'm in a shop and they can tell me they're just trying to sell me books. So far, you guys haven't disappointed. But if you did, I certainly wouldn't stop listening to you. And that's fair. So, and this is information that's valuable, guys. And the reason we did last week's show and this week's show, no one is perfect. I love Robbie and his reviews. We have the same taste. So part of the reason we did last week's show and this week's show is that as I start looking at new content on the EXP, I want to know where y'all stand on some of this stuff because there are a lot of things being suggested and there are a lot of things that we're working on. And I want to make sure that we're making shows that y'all have interest in that apply to everybody. You know, like I don't want to make a show that you guys are like, why are you doing this? This doesn't apply to me.
Yeah.
So other news, like I want to just jump into some other news that is of interest. Big name is coming to Mad Cave, and we kind of knew this already. Joe Quesada. Joe Q revealed that Amazing Comics, a new imprint at Mad Cave Studios and Dupas. I don't know how you say that. It's French. The first title he announced was Disciple, a new take on William Shakespeare's Hamlet, written with art by Quesada and co-written by Charles Dorfman, inked by Wade Bond Grawbadger, colored by a bunch of other people. Now to mark Shakespeare Day, which falls on his presumed birthday of April 23rd, Amazing has revealed Disciple will be the first title from Undiscovered, an entire line of comics based on Shakespeare. Quesada will oversee each title with Dorfman, a British filmmaker and newcomer to comics whose credits include directing Barbarians and producing The Lost Daughter. So I'm very excited about Joe Quesada doing Shakespeare. I think Joe Quesada did Shakespeare when he worked on Spider-Man, so it's one of those.
Wow, that sounds really interesting. Really interesting. Huh.
So I want to talk about something Eddie said here. I think review shows and comic preview shows mean more when they're not being done by store owners. Owners want to sell, so they tend to slant recommendations. That's not necessarily true, Ed. And what I mean by that is a lot of times store owners are the only people with that information. Right? Review shows and preview shows, a lot of times the only people who have books early enough to do preview shows are retailers who got their books early. You know, it's not like, you know, every average dude is sitting there with their books a week early, you know, so they can read them for review. And at the same time, when we do, like, again, the FOC show where we're talking about ordering and we're doing previews of that kind of stuff, we're doing it not because we're trying to sell books, but we're trying to tell you what books are coming out so that you can go and order them from your shop if you're into them. Not necessarily trying to sell you any from us. So I think intent is matters, right? The intent of the show and what your point of view is matters. If you're doing a book, if you're doing a show where I'm going, oh, hey, I have this book, you should come buy this book because it's awesome. Okay, that's fair. But if you're doing this book is out and here's what it's about, it's a different thing. So again, I think intent of the show matters a lot. So I think that's an important distinction there. Just in a book that, guys, is a Kyle book that might cross over to some of you. From the Mind of Clive Barker. Night of the Zoopocalypse is one of the best introductions to horror for kids.
Oh, wow.
Yep. This is an anthropomorphized animal horror book, but written for children, so that you can introduce younger readers to the idea of horror.
Ooh, that's so smart.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, that is smart.
Mm-hmm. They're saying that the comic, along with an animated show, is going to be this generation's The Nightmare Before Christmas. Listen, this is just a Kyle talking now. Shut up and take my money.
Yeah. Oh, that's, man. I can't wait already. Like, oh my God, that's glitching my brain. Horror for children.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, and I think horror for children is horror for all ages, right?
Yeah.
Scary for everybody at some level. So I think that's a very interesting take. Very interesting thing. Yeah, I'm having the same problem you're having, Jay. My brain can't quite wrap its brain around it. But at the same time, I'm so in, it's not even funny. Other news that I wanted to mention before we got into, if you guys have questions, throw them in the chat. Yen Press, which is a manga company, is bringing back one of the most popular manga of all time. If you are someone who crosses over into manga from comic books, be on the lookout for oh, now I can't find the stupid link to confirm it. DN Agent. So just something to look forward to if you're a manga head. Anyway, no, not Ellie Blue Girl.
No.
All right. So Friday, I want to go over some notes for the EXP here real fast. Friday, Nick is giving away an enormous amount of art. High value art. Shoot, I forgot to email Henri something. And Henri is blowing me up right now. Everybody, shout out to Henri for jumping in the middle of the evening to bail me out on something, so I don't have to write literally everything here.
Shout out to Henri anyway. We love Henri.
Yes, shout out to Henri anyway. But he is working on getting a mailer together. So I'm just going to read from the press release. Be sure to check out the show. $2,000 in art giveaways. Watch for a chance to win. Guys, there is a Batman page by Dennis Cowan. They'll be on the show. DC Comics Presents by Dick Dillon and Dick Giordano. Fantastic Four annual page by George Perez. Secret Society of Supervillains, Rich Buckler page that I'm going to have to try and get. So just know there's going to be crazy good stuff on the show. And Nick is giving away $2,000 worth of art. Ed, show up. Don't feel bad for showing up, because Nick knows what he's doing, and that's what he wants to do, right? He wants you to show up.
Just about to say that, TJ.
What did he say?
He bumped it up to 3.
Look, I'm going to say 2, only because if I say 3 and Nick only gives away, or Nick has to give away 3 because I said it, he's going to charge me that $1,000. So I'm going to say 2 and hope that I'm wrong for everybody else's sake.
He's the one who said it, so just saying. He said that.
It's not coming out of my mouth.
Okay.
Because it's not coming out of my pocket.
That's a good question.
How do you make the choice of a show on when it plays? Oh, here on the Experience? That is a good question, Castle. Some of it is literally just you can't go live then. Somebody else already is. And some of it is, when are you available? So, for instance, the FOC show on Friday is an interesting opportunity. We do that show live, and we go live the moment FOC closes. FOC closes at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. So we go live the second FOC closes on that show. And that was done intentionally so that we have all the information as because FOC is closed. And we are the first show on the air breaking down the FOC information. Just as a note, that show may be moving back an hour so that it goes live at 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, only because as it turns out, that deadline in recent weeks has been a little more fluctuated. So we may push it back an hour just to make sure everything's in. Things like Comic Industry Insiders, that's when they're available to do the show. We are working on some shows that intentionally want to be on during the day. I'm working on a show right now that would be live 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Thursdays. Jay's going, please don't ask me to produce that show. It's the middle of the night. Don't worry, Jay. I won't. I will be doing that show.
Well, you know me. If you ever need me to do something, all you got to do is ask, and I'll do it.
But you know what I mean. It's one of those. Like that's a show that I'm going to be on. At least at first, until we find him another co-host. So I will also be producing. Simple as that. This show is on because we're filling a time spot while I'm waiting to build up a show to go here. And that show hopefully is coming soon. So like this show will bump up or move down or move to another day or go away completely. Because, we'll just see what we need. A lot of times, Castle, it is gut feeling and opportunity. If you want to talk about actual practicality, I have a board in my outer office that has note cards on it with every show and their time and who their hosts are and all the information that I literally move around. So I can see where stuff goes. And I'm not opposed to it, Triple B. We just have to have a conversation about content. Ed says it sucks because I'm usually in meetings on Friday afternoon and I always forget to watch it afterwards. Right. That's kind of one of the downsides of doing shows in the middle of the day like that, right? People work.
Yeah.
So John, when I say FOC closes, what I mean is that publishers can't submit any more information. FOC closes Monday night at 6:00 Pacific Standard Time, so 9:00 Eastern is when your shop has to have their information in. So we do a show Friday at the moment FOC is closed to publishers, so that we're the first show live talking about what's available to order once publishers get all their information in. And again, like we're saying, we're still seeing some covers coming in late, some stuff getting changed after the fact. So we're talking about bumping down that show just a little bit. If somebody wanted to work weekends, we'd do weekends. I don't know. Tune in on Sunday night, Eddie. No, so again, sometimes the schedule, guys, here on the experience, and this is an interesting thing to think about, is most of our folks, with kind of the exceptions of Jay and I, have other jobs, right? Miss Jen is running a store. Nick is running Dynamite. Rex is working for Nick. Nancy's running a store. Matthias runs a store. We do a lot of, everybody else is running some other business. So when they can go live is largely dependent on when they have availability.
Yeah.
So if weekends are the busy time at your store, you don't want to be doing a live sale or a talk show or something when you could be running a show. It kind of sucks. Because then you're taking away from your store. At the same time, it means it makes it hard for us to put shows on the weekend. But again, I'm working on it. There's also only Jay and I. We have to sleep at some point.
Yes.
And Jay has to take Sundays off. Otherwise, Jenna will kill me.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know. We'll talk about that later. I have a scheduling question for you and Jenna.
Okay.
Anyway. But no, that's kind of the way that works, right? It's like it's opportunity meets availability.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to play Jenga with it. Anybody else have other questions about the EXP, about pop culture, about comics? Throw them out there.
Yeah.
What was I gonna? Oh, I have a Rekka story for you, Ed, and everybody else who's excited about Rekka. I bought that hoodie yesterday. I got that hoodie yesterday. It came to me in the mail. I wore it. I get home. I reach into the pocket. There's a whole stack of like stickers and swag in the pocket of the hoodie from Rekka. And on the back of one of them is a QR code. And it takes you to Rekka's site where you can read Bear versus Bear. And you can read like the Ashcan preview of the world or the future is and all of this kind of stuff. But it also gets you into the hacker game. So your boy may have already solved some puzzles. And I'm very excited for you guys, Ed, TJ, you guys who are pretty computer savvy, to get that, to get into that book. Mad Cave is doing a Phantom Free Comic Book Day book. TJ, Free Comic Book Day is coming up May the 2nd. Ironically, I won't be going this year to Free Comic Book Day because I will be at Insane WrestleFest. I will be at a wrestling convention that day and will be likely, if not in the ring, managing someone nearby to the ring.
Yes.
I will not be going to Free Comic Book Day. There are, we will do a show coming up. Maybe next Wednesday we'll do a Free Comic Book Day preview.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. John, there was a third producer we had to cut back just due to budgetary constraints. When those budgetary constraints are no longer budgetary constraints, we will hire someone. But in the meantime, no. Mm-hmm. Mad Cave is awesome.
Yeah.
Rekka is going to be really cool. I think you guys are going to like Rekka. There are a couple of other publishers, AMP, The Lab, that I also think are doing some interesting and cool things. So be looking out for them as well. But Rekka, I think, is going to make the biggest move in terms of you seeing them in majority of stores. So just know that that's a thing. Dick Tracy is amazing. Speaking of Rekka, Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern, Matthias and I are doing a very special FOC show this week. It's going to be different than any FOC shows we've done before, which is we are going to do 2 interviews. We have Fred Van Lente and where is it at? Please hold. I have to scroll through 1.5 million emails. Here it is. Okay, Fred Van Lente, Joseph Keating, and Adam Freeman from Rekka will be tomorrow on Order Up, and then we will also have Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, who are doing this little book from this tiny little publisher called Marvel Comics. And the book they're doing is called Giant Size X-Men #1. So, maybe tune into that one. Is What True About Distillery Castle?
And that's Friday, folks.
That's Friday at 1. Mm-hmm. Then Friday at 7, Nick is giving away an amount of art that is a dollar figure. I don't have.
Don't say just in case.
Yeah, an amount of money I don't have a good answer on. Triple B, email me. I can show you how to not have that happen. TJ, Titan puts out some good stuff. Heat Seeker and Gun Honey really remind me. Yeah. No, it's true. Titan did a book. Titan did a book for years. Hold on. That is based off of this old English movie that I loved. And I want to make sure I get the titles right here. But Castle, I have not heard that. I will get that later. But I have not heard that, Castle, about Distillery. I don't think it's true. But I can find out relatively quickly here. I don't think it's true, but no, the thing that Titan has done really well is that Titan puts out great books that are very much based on new and known commodities. So it works out really well for them. Okay, to answer your question, Castle, they are not. They are moving distributors, so they are taking a dark period, if that makes sense. While they get their distributor moved over to Penguin Random House, they are not publishing. At the same time, the president of that company has gone through a pretty tremendous personal loss in the wake of also he's getting married soon. So it's one of those things like the president of that company has a lot of stuff happening, and they are moving distributors. So they are just taking a little bit of time. To what's the word I'm looking for? Get their stuff together. I've not heard any official announcements about anything else. And I would have heard.
Titan does Conan, right?
Titan does have Conan. The Minky Woodcock books are good. There's just a lot of stuff happening at these smaller publishers. And again, guys, you have to remember that so many of these publishers were reliant on Diamond for distribution, right? And as that situation unfolded, these publishers had to make changes. And making those changes, I can just tell you a little bit of what I know from talking to Nick, is not easy. All right. It's a hard lift to make those changes, right? So for a publisher like Distillery, that is still a relatively small operation, like Dynamite is a significantly bigger operation, just in terms of manpower, is a lot harder for them to make those changes than, say, a bigger company like Marvel or DC, where they have infrastructure to do things. So I'm guessing that I'm not guessing. I believe, based on what I'm reading here, that they are just taking a pause, a hiatus. We were talking about Mad Cave earlier. Something I'm very excited about for Mad Cave is the return of Speed Racer. Anybody else excited for Speed Racer? Go, Speed Racer, go.
Yeah. If done right and it's not just nostalgia bait, some of these older properties from the 70s and 80s that are being brought back in the 90s have just been fantastic. Like, I'm sorry, Thundercats is still amazing. Like, even what is it, 14 issues in now? Thundercats has still been great. I keep talking about Space Ghost. Space Ghost is one I missed out on for some reason, the Hanna-Barbera stuff, and I love it. And this cover alone, and I'm already sold on it. I saw who's writing it. Already sold on it. Already sold. Oh. Dude.
That cover, though.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. This is going to be super fun, I think. It definitely has some of that old school manga feel. Yeah. Oh, they're doing a blank. Oh boy. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna spend a bunch of money. But yeah. No, I think this is gonna be a lot of fun. Ed says, I was so disappointed with Herculoids, with the way Thundercats and Space Ghost were. I had high hopes for Herculoids. Oh well. Tried to warn you, buddy.
Was just typing that question about the blanks. Yeah. Ooh.
So, you guys, this is maybe, I don't know how many people fully understand what blanks are for. Do you guys know what you do with blanks? These are blanks. These are both blanks, and this is one book. This is one blank. That's what you do with blanks, by the way. If you are unsure about why you should want them, it's you can commission your own CCAs. Just an awesome thing. All right. Speed Racer was your favorite Saturday morning cartoon. It was not my favorite, but it became my favorite as I got older. But I love Speed Racer. I'm very excited for it. And again, David Pepose is a good friend, great writer. I'm excited to see what he does with it.
Yeah, I think Ed was talking about Herculoids being his favorite.
Oh, Herculoids? Yeah. Well, sorry, bud. I hate to be that guy. But you know, it's funny. Like Jay was talking about things that are when somebody is apathetic towards a book. And you remember my review because we play it in the minute to skim it spot all the time.
Yep.
Nah, it's fine. It's a book. You know, that kind of thing. Like, that is not the way you want your review to go. And it's never the way I want to review a book, but I feel like I need to be honest with you guys when I do review books.
Yeah.
It's like the best book I've read in the last 2 weeks, last maybe month, is Red Code 11.
Oh, Red Code.
It's such a masterclass in long-term storytelling that I can't even begin to explain it to you. But then also, like, Assorted Crisis Events #1 and Free for All #1 are right up there on the list too.
That's the one I was trying to think of. That's the other Patrick Horvath book.
Yep.
Yeah.
But here are a couple of other books that I've picked up recently that I'm excited to read. Just because I know nothing about them. Well, I know nothing about one of them. I know everything about the other. This is an Eclipse reprint of Will Eisner's Law Detective. Sean Law Detective, which is a great old school book. And this is signed by Will Eisner. And then this is signed by Guy Davis, who, again, a lot of people don't know Guy Davis. I love Guy Davis's art. Guy Davis was kind of doing a Keith Giffen thing before Keith Giffen. This is the Nevermen #4. I have 1 through 3 already, by the way. So this was just a pickup to fill #4. But yeah, really excited about that stuff. All right, guys, we got about 10 minutes left in the show. Anybody have any questions for us? Questions about the EXP, questions about pop culture, questions about comic books.
Now it's gonna be stuck in my head. No, thanks.
You guys are too much.
Yeah, I want to pick up that book, and I'm also very excited for the one that Michael Walsh was on FOC last week talking about, Exquisite Corpses.
Exquisite Corpses.
Man,
it's very good. I've read #1.
Oh,
I'll tell you guys what book I'm most excited for, and you can go watch the interview where he talks about it here on The Experience. Aubrey Sitterson is writing a book called Free Planet. Free Planet is the story of a planet that has essentially gotten its freedom from basically if the rebels from Star Wars got their freedom, basically. And so they're this ragtag group of people who are in charge of maintaining peace on the planet. But the problem is, if you have a totally free planet, what role do peacekeepers have? Right? Like, there's no authority. So it's this idea of of what happens when there's no authority, but you need some authority. How does that all play out? It's a really fun book. You can go watch the interview. I will grab it real fast and throw it up.
Castle liked it too.
Yeah, I will go
Wow.
grab the link for the interview and throw it up here in the chat so y'all can watch it. But Free Planet, I think, is a book I'm very excited about.
And I got two I can think of. Ooh, geez. I can think of off the top of my head. One, I believe it's called The Slasher's Apprentice.
Slasher's Apprentice is
it
a
looks-
Mad Cave book. Yep.
It looks super interesting. And there's I don't know if you've ever read Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, but there's going to be another volume of that, I believe. I can't remember what it's called, something about seasons or something. That one, like, if you haven't read Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, Ed, get on that one. That one I waited quite a while on and ended up reading them all at one time. Man, it was so good. So good. And that's even with Kyle talking about how great it was. It just took me a while to jump on. Oh, okay. Yeah.
That link in the chat is for the Aubrey Citizen interview about Free Planet. Steve Vendetta, I don't have Free Planet ash cans available for sale. I have a Free Planet ash can that I'm keeping. Again, I will get back to you when I have some time to breathe. I have an answer for you. I just have not had time to stick my head above water in the last 3 days. Okay. In terms of Ed books, just on my Horizon list, by the way, there are a couple of great horror stories that I see coming in the near future. In fact, they're on FOC. If not this week, then next. Let me scroll through and make sure I got this right here. Hold on. Answer other questions, Jay. Talk to the people while I scroll. Golden Rage is a good book. Yes, Golden Rage is good. There is a new Heat Seeker coming out, Heat Seeker Exposed, that I'm kind of excited for, that I think Ed might dig. But
is that an Image book, Golden Rage?
Is an Image book. It's great. It's Golden Girls meets Great British Baking Show meets Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Or Battle Royale.
Yeah. Okay. So Image. Another book that I'm hoping keeps continuing is Where Monsters Lie. Actually, I'm kind of fingers crossed for the next series coming sometime soon. I have fallen in love with that book and have loved both volumes of it so far. Like, that's been my favorite thing horror wise I've read in some time.
The other book for Ed that I'm excited about, and again, for all of you horror fans out there, like Kill Train is great, but like there's one that I want to put you on. It's on FOC on Monday. So you have to place your orders by Monday. It's called Sleep. It is written and drawn by Xander Cannon. When Jonathan Reason falls asleep, he becomes something else. Every night, it stalks his quiet town, killing seemingly indiscriminately. When he wakes up covered in blood, our story begins. This new horror mystery from Xander Cannon, who wrote Heck and Top 10 and Kaiju Max, shows us the horrifying waking hours of an unwilling part-time killer. Hero will likely not ever get a volume 2, Ed. Yeah. As much as I've tried to tuck Justin Jordan into doing it, it's not going to happen. Other book, by the way, that I'm bigly interested in seeing how people feel. Spawn: The Curse of Shirley Jordan, which we'll be talking about on Friday. That is a big exciting book for me.
Yeah. And also, if you haven't checked out Those Not Afraid.
Those Not Afraid is great.
Really digging that one.
So again, those are the kind of things that, like, I've got coming in a few weeks that I'm already paying attention to because I'm already looking at FOC stuff. But to go out further than that is going to be pretty tough. Just because, again, this stuff is not 100% for sure. But there is a book called Dark Manor coming from Zdarsky. Dead Eyes from Image is getting re-released. The original Dead Eyes. So that is a wild book that y'all might like. So yeah. So I'm gonna leave it there. If anybody has any more questions, we'll take them. But we will we'll probably wrap up and get out of here. So we Jay can have some time off and I can have some time off. But if anybody has any questions, throw them out there in the chat right now. Well, I remind you that tomorrow at 7, Jen is here with What's in the Box, followed by the Geek Chat at 9, and Melon Mog at 10. Melon Mog are in Canada right now, so their show will be hosted by someone else tomorrow night. Sarah White will be here. I will be hosting that show coming up in May, by the way. Then on Friday, we have FOC with again, Fred Van Lente and the whole team from Recca, who will be talking about the future is ... And then Nick will be giving away a bunch of art on the art show, followed by Nancy's return. Nancy had taken a week off for Easter. Nancy will be back Friday night, and guys, she has some great Silver Age stuff.
Yeah.
For that show. Some keys as well. I will be here Sunday night. We're going to do 4 to 6 here on the EXP. That way we're not interfering with Dan's show. So we'll be here 4 to 6 doing a live sale, potentially with the On Rizzle. We will see. Henri may be joining me or not. I don't know for sure. I'll let you know about that. And then I will be over on CBSN Sunday night from 6 to 8. Then Monday, we're back with Comic Collectibles and Best Coast Comics, and then Jay and I will be on CBSN in the middle. Next Tuesday, Minute to Skim It, we'll be back with Jen and Shanice, followed by Welcome to Wonderland. They will be back next week. And then kicking it with Henri. So we will get to see everybody in the coming days. And what am I forgetting, Jay? I'm forgetting something. ComicShopLocator.com.
There you go.
Visit ComicShopLocator.com to find a comic shop nearby to you. Go into your comic shop and spend $5, please. It makes everybody's life a lot easier. Yes. So we will see you guys next week. End the show.